I don't have any jokes this time. I did, but then I saw what you were doing with your mouth just then, and I've got nothing. I have nothing in the tank. I have nothing in the tank.
Emptied your mind.
That was horrifying. Matt, ladies and gentlemen, just sat there like with his jaw sort of in a fixed, square-mouthed position and just went. It looked like if you've ever seen a laughing policeman, you know, it's like the little mannequin in a cabinet.
The one that's outside Blackpool Pleasure Beach.
Oh, is that still there? Do you remember when
I don't know, but it's horrifying.
Blackpool Tower used to have like, there was this character who was on a screen outside.
Oh.
And it would interact with you.
Lost you.
Like it was clearly sort of a digital puppet of some kind. I've just lost. I just briefly lost connection with you, which I think is that
We're
puppet
back.
trying to get its revenge.
We're back.
That was the puppet in the booth tried to get in the way. Hey, for the sake of sync, Matt, knock knock.
Who's there?
That creepy ass puppet from out front of Blackpool Tower. What does it want? Why do we remember it, but no one else does? There you go.
Maybe it's in the Passage del Terra now.
That was a pull. Do you know what else is? The topics we're talking about this week. Welcome everybody to the Big Damn Cars, the pop culture podcast full of nerdy news, geek gossip and stuff that's fit to fill your time before we inevitably dig each other's holes and crawl inside and spoon and wait for the inevitable heat death of the universe.
Yes.
I'm Chris. It's the greatest fraud in American history, Johnson.
And I try to walk away, but I choke. I try to say goodbye, but I stumble. Though I try to fight it, it's clear. My world ends when you are not here.
Could you do the rest of this podcast in her voice? Because I'd be like, so Matt, what news stories have you got? Well, I gotta
say goodbye and I choke. I try to walk away and I stumble.
I'm not going to shit on Macy Gray because, you know, there's absolutely a mountain of talent coming out of that lady's lungs. Like, what a fantastic performer. But isn't it weird that there's a whole generation who only know her as that random pop star in the first Spider-Man movie?
Do they?
Macy Gray!
She was big at the time.
She was, but that's why you should never have a star who's big at the time cameo in your movie, because then if they don't stick around, it just weirdly puts the movie in a bottle. It's so strange. What I'm trying to say is, Macy Gray is the reason why the Sam Raimi Spider-Man franchise ended, and the lawyers will be going to speak to her soon. After they finished trying to stop counting ballots because it's not election day anymore, despite the fact that's not what election day means.
That's not how elections work.
As of this recording, boys and girls, Joe Biden's the new president-elect of the United States. And the reason I say as of this recording is because Lord knows what tricks the Trump team are going to pull out of their arse in the coming weeks. Trump tricks. Did you see the Four Seasons press conference kerfuffle? Oh my God. Oh, it was amazing.
It's so good. It's
important
so
press
good.
conference outside of the Four Seasons in Philadelphia. Not Philadelphia, what was it? Yeah, it's Philadelphia. No,
It was
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania
today. Outside of Pennsylvania, the Four Seasons. Everyone's like, right, the hotel. And nope, the hotel told them no. It's either that the hotel told the Trump campaign, no, we already have things going on. No, you can't just last minute announce that. Or they falsely booked the wrong place in the first place. But either way, they did it outside of a freaking like automobile parts factory near a pawn shop.
Yeah.
PORN pawn shop.
And a headstone engravers.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, the poetic justice of it all. And then Rudy Giuliani shows up and is like, there's electoral fraud going on. It's the greatest crime in American history. La 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 la. Here's somebody from one of the counting places that like claims that ballots have been tampered with. The dude in question didn't work with the ballots and was a stout Republican, someone who's been known to involve himself in campaign events, and is a registered sex offender.
Oh, yeah.
Known for exposing himself to young children.
Yeah.
So that's the person they've called upon to go, listen to this true American hero.
Listen to this absolutely true thing that definitely happened.
I want them all to disappear into oblivion. It's not going to happen.
Well,
Really
it
isn't.
will eventually. We all will, but
Yeah, but can they go sooner? So that we can all sort of go, hey, do you remember 2016 through 2020? The fuck was all that about?
they can go sooner so they can get it warm for us. Space.
Oh, no. You see, now here's the thing. We've talked before about, like, if there is indeed a heaven and a hell, surely hell's going to be the more interesting one to go to, meet people in. That being said, if they're there, I'm going to start being, like, the most goody two-shoes ever from this moment
God,
forward.
I'm gonna be so pious.
I'm gonna be pizza pious.
Pizza pious, yeah, okay.
When the moon hits your eye like a big pious pie. That's me, baby. Here's a question.
Okay.
When we come out of this lockdown, and when life sort of settles back into a state of normalcy that's the most close to the years gone by that we have been at. But
Yes.
obviously certain distancing things will have to take place, certain measures will have to change.
Yes.
Do you think Italian waiters will, like, get up in your face anymore?
What are you doing to the Italian waiters to make them get up in your face?
Paying them a little extra under the table. No, but there's sort of a tradition, isn't there, in Italian restaurants of it being very personable and very excitable and very exciting, and there's a buzz in the air, and the waiters usually joke around with everybody. It's very much like a, I don't know, it's I'm trying to remember what it's called now. It's a cultural aspect of it, but it's like a, what's it called? We have people over in your house. I can't remember now. It was the before times.
A host.
It's like a hospitality thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very much sort of in keeping in, like, traditional Italian cuisine and Italian dining, and it is definitely in a lot of Italian restaurants here and in the States. But it's just hit me now. Like, for some reason at this exact moment, you're never gonna have, like, someone at, you know, it's a big Italian restaurant going up to you and be like, "Hey, Ross, how you doing? Oh, I'm just kidding. Oh, no, don't worry about it. Okay, right, while we're here, you know, what can I get you?" You're never gonna have that anymore. Which
Good.
I think little brothers around the country are gonna be thankful for that. Little brothers around the country are going to be super thankful for that, because they won't have their cheeks pinched anymore by a rando bringing them some wine.
I'm super thankful for that. I don't want. I want my interactions to be businesslike and curt.
Buffets are going to completely change. All you can eat buffets.
If
You
I
can't do that the way you did before.
If I never go to an all-you-can-eat buffet for the rest of my life, I will be fine. I'll be fine.
Matt only likes very specifically catered buffets. He likes buffets that are just hash browns and nothing else.
Ah, yes, you've got to take me to the hash brown place.
Take me to the hash brown buffet. What's there? You're fucking kidding, right? There's just what is it at the hash brown buffet? Are the hash browns in different shapes, sorted into different sections, or is it just like one big giant plate of hash browns on a lazy Susan, just slowly rotating in the middle of the room?
It's a conveyor
and everyone
belt,
can
like
come
in a
over
sushi
and
restaurant
scoop 'em
of
up.
hash browns.
Oh yes! Oh, I'd love that. I'm not even joking. With no irony, that would be magical time for me.
And it's like a log flume, so it dips and they go back into the oil and come back out, so they stay fresh.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If I'm to choose the manner of my death, I wish it to be heart attack at your hash brown restaurant.
It's
sir.
just hash browns all the time.
Hash browns in your face, in your mouth. How have you been, boyo? You been good?
Been alright. Been, trucking along, doing my thing. Not getting COVID as best I can. And, yeah, just generally living life and working like a man works.
Working like a man would.
Yes.
In the man woods.
In the man
the
woods.
woods where you meet all the other mans.
Yeah.
And you gather and you forage and you make love and you fight bears and then you come home.
No, I don't do that. I don't do any of that. I put things on shelves all day. Put things on shelves.
Yeah, but like
And then I come
home.
home.
They're still fighting bears, right?
No, but no bears. No bears.
Is there sex with these men?
No. Not that I've seen.
Do you want to know what the best part about this is, gentle listener? I asked that surreal question as my wife walked in the room with a cup of tea. She's horrified. She has no idea what to think. Do you think Matt goes to work all day to wrestle bears and have sex with mountain men?
No, if that's what you choose to do, Matt,
It's not!
we'll love you.
There's no
No matter
choice.
what.
Anyway,
no choice, he says. They force him into it.
That's awful.
well, anyway,
That's horrendous.
anyway, I can't
Don't we
because
call it
we have to
boys?
distance.
Oh, they have to distance, so they have to sort of imagine the greasy, sweaty, muscular thrusting.
Are
Of...
Basic-
these-
what
are
I'm
these
saying-
people quite well endowed. I mean,
You've not listened to the Big Dumb Cast for a while, have you? It's changed a
Well-
lot this year.
What I'm saying is, you can spit in your hand, but you can't put it in.
Oh, that is. I will tell her about that later. Thank you so much for the cup of tea. You may go about your normal life now.
I don't know if it'll ever be the same again.
Picturing whatever you wish to picture. What I love about this is right now she's wearing a cardigan, and she just sort of folded it across herself like a concerned grandmother.
Yeah, that's the correct reaction.
Well, as Matt has just said to me, that is the correct reaction. So you actually reacted the right, sane way.
Bye.
There's dead air in this podcast, ladies and
going.
gentlemen, but it's worth it.
I'm bye.
Love you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Off you go, Minnie. Leave the room, small dog.
If there were pearls, they should be clutched.
Scratching.
Yeah. Speaking of greasy man holes, you have been on our fantastic Twitch show recently, twitch.tv/BigDamnStream, and your adventures in backlogging, revisiting the original Big Damn Stream origin story.
Origin story, yeah. I thought, you know
From
what, I'm going to go back to this
2015.
video game and finish it. Because it's
Roll
on my
back the rock into the
backlog.
dawn of time.
And it's an
and you
adventure.
go on adventures.
Yeah.
You've been playing Alien Isolation.
I have.
As of this podcast, you are throbbing inches away from the finale of the story.
Throbbing inches.
I ask this as an interested party and also to give myself a little bit of a delay so I can lube up my hands. What do you think of it? What do you think of it, baby boy? What do you think of it?
It's really good.
You're very good at it. I shit myself in first-person strategy games. So watching you, I'm impressed and aroused.
I can see why a lot of people bounced off it, because there is a stealth encounter right at the start of the game before you start to gather your various tools and equipment that is just ridiculously hard. Once you get past that point, the game starts to, give you more tools to handle situations, and it becomes a lot easier. But as an introduction to the stealth mechanics, it really is harsh.
Is this the first time you have to sneak past some working Joes?
No, this is the first time you have to
Or is
sneak
it the
past
alien?
people.
Oh shoot!
Before
Yes,
the
I
alien
remember
turns
now.
up for the
Yeah.
first time. And it's just unpleasant. Once you get past that, the game gets a lot more accessible, and it meets out its alien quite well. It doesn't sort of because you can't kill it.
No. Oh no.
And you can't even really fend it off until, much later in the game, when you've got a flamethrower. Then you can fend it off, but that flamethrower eats through fucking fuel.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you don't get a ton of it. So you've really got to there's a lot of trial and error. And because there's no autosave and no checkpointing, you've got to be really careful about what you choose. It's very survival horror. It's very it doesn't quite
Resident Evil.
Yeah, it doesn't quite go as Resi 7 really did reinvent survival horror in first person, and Alien Isolation does 75% of that work. And it's just it feels of a piece with the original Alien. It's very much in that mood, and lovingly recreated that sort of setting, and the design pulling the designs from where they can and then extrapolating to build a deeper world from that design philosophy. There's just a joy to explore, but, you can't really take too long exploring it before you get attacked by homicidal androids or an alien or very stressed out survivors. It's great, but what makes it great is also what makes it frustrating. So I can see why people kind of get bounced off it. And it is, compared to a lot of other horror games, it is quite long.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're on stream... I think you're on stream 5 as of this week.
I think it might be 7.
7, is it? Really?
Maybe.
Oh, yeah, actually the week before Halloween. So you've been playing for about 12 plus hours at this point.
Yeah.
Holy shitballs.
And I've not really been going after any of the side, like, collectibles and things like that. I mean, it does sort of encourage you to explore the environments, but it is still fairly linear, so it doesn't... You can't really get sidetracked.
Yeah, you're not really, like, doubling back on yourself to go, oh, I'll look in this room before I move on, or, like...
No, like...
Stories first.
Yes, because there is... when the alien is about, there is something of a sense of urgency, and
yeah, like that thing could just show. Because if you see it up ahead, like if you're walking down a corridor in the ship and you can see that dribble just sort of plopping out of a vent above you a bit further along, you're like, right, I'm gonna walk the other way because if I go that way, it's above me and it'll see me. But if you take too long going in a direction the game wants you to, does the alien start showing up more often?
Not that I've noticed, because I've not lingered, really. But once the alien kind of shows up for the first time, it's kind of always, but not quite there.
Yeah.
So you're never 100% sure if it's going to drop down from a vent or just be around a corner. And it really sort of mixes up confrontations with, okay, you've got the alien maybe stalking you.
Yeah.
Sorry. Maybe stalking you.
That's right.
But you've also got to make your way through these Joes and solve this puzzle while avoiding the alien. And also, to get through this section, there are survivors here who will shoot you if you don't leave them alone. But also the alien's here. And maybe you can sec the alien on them, but then you've got the alien to deal with.
Yeah. Like, you used its presence to your advantage, but now it's walking around.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, shit. Yeah. Okay.
And some of the alien moments are scripted, and some of them are dynamic, and I can't always tell which one's which. Which is
the very first time it shows up which is of course is definitely scripted, but the very first time it shows up when you're under that desk. Yeah. And it just like you have that moment where it lands on the desk and its tail just like lazily, just heavily sort of slinks down and thunks onto the floor. That is so shocking the first time you play. And you know it's going to happen. You've picked up a game called Alien Isolation. The alien's going to show up.
Everyone knows what the alien looks like. You can't surprise people with the alien at this point.
And it's like 45 minutes in or something, isn't it? Of just like going for it is the first time you know it's there.
It's a little longer because it's after that first stealth encounter.
Yeah. Oh, shoot. People. Actually, yeah, because doesn't it... You don't see it till after the bald fella gets pulled into the scene.
Early on you meet a survivor and they get offed by the alien, so you don't see it in full. Yeah. Then later on, but when you see it in full the first time, is a little bit later. And, it makes an impression. And the sort of not quite knowing how much it can see because it doesn't have eyes. Yeah. So you're not necessarily sure where it's looking or what it takes for it to spot you.
Yeah. There's been some narrow moments in your stream where you've been like in its peripheral and it's not seen you.
Yeah, that's been quite...
But then other times where you haven't seen or heard it at all and the tail's gone through you from behind. Yeah. So it has seen you, as an AI, it has seen you, the player character, without you knowing it's there.
Behind me, Or literally...
That's terrifying.
I've just turned a corner and it's dropped on me from a vent.
Yeah.
It's... And then... I don't want to spoil it too much because of stuff that happens later on, but
It's a 7-year-old video game. Go into some details. Go on. Do it.
The point I'm at
Spoiler
in the game,
alert for Alien Isolation. Skip 5 minutes if you really are worried. Go.
The point I am, which is towards the end of the game, there is a hive.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
eggs and facehuggers, and they are tricky little fuckers.
It would be weird if they had made an
tricky
Alien
little
game
fuckers.
without at least that element in there somewhere. I think it would have been really weird.
I would have respected the hustle, but it would have to have been shorter.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Because about 2/3 of the way through this game, you blow the alien out of... Well, you leave it on a detached
You
part of the
suck
station.
off the alien?
Yeah, you blow the alien. It's like that bit in Alien Resurrection.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Oh, jeez. Thanks for that. Well, no, I'm going to have to watch this week out of morbid curiosity.
Oh, I showed it to Keats for the first time. And also Alien Resurrection. For the last... Oh, sorry, I couldn't resist.
Oh, God. Neither could Cakes.
Hey! This weekend gone. And, it's... I mean, it's not a good film, but it is quite a lot of fun. Like, it's silly fun.
It's got great ideas, but it's the bad kind of film that I call kinda shit. You can see what works, but it just hasn't landed. But there's enough of the interesting stuff.
Alien film.
Oh yeah. Oh, it doesn't feel like Alien at all. It's just there.
But
it's horror. It's horror Firefly.
Yeah, kind of.
I mean, right down to Joss Whedon having the pass of the first pass of the screenplay.
Yeah. Well,
he's the credited writer, but he's
I think most of
he said a lot of it was changed during.
I think it's not so much that it was changed. Like most of what he wrote ended up on screen. It's just the tone of it. Like he wrote it as almost like a parody, and they played it completely straight.
Yeah.
But
who are you expecting? Santa Claus!
In playing it completely straight, it ends up more parodical.
Yeah.
It's just nuts.
Only 2 people come out of it unscathed, and that's Sigourney Weaver, because she ain't playing Ripley. It ain't Ripley. And it's clearly definitely not Ripley. It looks like Ripley. It sounds like Ripley. It ain't Ripley, and she does that really, really well. Because she doesn't even try to give Ripley any sense of like, oh, it is Ripley, but we're just sort of seeing her through a different lens. It's like, no, this is a completely different creature.
Yeah.
This is not the heroine you spent the first 3 movies with. She is dead. This is a different thing, and you're meant to feel uncomfortable around her if you followed the series, because you're meant to feel like, this isn't who we've spent the last 3 movies with. This is weird. And also, Brad Dourif, who's just off his tits.
I don't know. Winona Ryder.
Ron Perlman? Winona Ryder does... Yeah, she does a good job. Yeah. She convinced me at the age of, 10 to randomly pick at this mole on my wrist and see if it would come off.
Sure, okay.
Don't do that, guys. Don't do that. Don't do that, folks. You're not a robot inside. There are no wires.
Yeah, Ron Perlman is chewing through that fucking scenery, man. Like
devouring it. He's opening his big bear-like maw and he's just taking chunks out of it.
I was listening to an interview with Steven Weber the other day, who's an actor you'll have seen in many things, and he was talking about because he's worked with Ron Perlman on some bits and pieces here and there, and he related a story of when Ron Perlman was working on City of Lost Children. Because he's worked with Jean-Pierre Jeunet, who directed Alien Resurrection quite a bit, which is how he ended up on Alien Resurrection. And he's on set, and to sort of wind up the French crew, he's like, oh, it's the anniversary of the end of the Second World War, so I won't be working today until you've all personally thanked me.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, he is
God damn it.
He is apparently quite the raconteur.
Oh, God, love Ron Perlman. He's so good.
So that was an Alien tangent. Alien Isolation. It's good unless it shits itself in the last, 4 missions or something.
Find out if it does live on Friday the 13th. Oh my god, it's Friday the 13th.
Is it?
Yeah, Friday the 13th,
fucking
this
hell.
Friday, twitch.tv/BigDamnStream. If you're hearing this after the fact of late Friday the 13th,
I'm definitely not going to finish it on Friday if it's the 13th.
head back onto Twitch to catch any of the last few weeks' repeats of it and give them a watch see. It's well worth it.
Yes!
Matt gets so into this that his gameplay is simultaneously impressive and his expression is equally frustrating.
Yes.
You look so, like, tense at certain bits.
It's
You're
very
just like,
tense. It's a very tense game.
Fuck!
It's like, oh no, I've pissed the alien off and I've got no flamethrower fuel left and I guess I've got a flare, maybe? Can I make it?
It's just what I do now!
Can I make it to a hiding spot in time? Spoiler, you can't.
So on that note, I want to ask y'all, you and I, to pool together our collective brain holes.
Yeah.
What video game tie-ins, so not necessarily video game adaptations or cash-ins, but like, what video game tie-ins to franchises feel like they belong in that franchise?
Well,
Alien Isolation is arguably never going to be the masterpiece that Alien and Aliens in particular are. It's never going to have that level of, you know, like, people in 20 years' time are going, and of course, the best thing about the Alien franchise is Alien Isolation. Because, you know, we're not at that point yet where video games are perceived as artistic as, say, film and television.
We're getting there, but I think
we're getting there.
The important thing is not to directly compare them, but just to accept that their own sort of thing with their own sort of nuances and complications. And I think Alien Isolation does a really good job of bringing that franchise and the feel of that franchise into the medium, because it's all about feel, really. It feels like an Alien thing, more so than a lot of the spin-off media, to be honest. So, like, a lot of the novels and comic books don't feel quite as alien as Isolation does. I think because they are...
I mean, the biggest miss in that category was, like, the year before, was Aliens Colonial Marines. Which is also maybe kind of part of the canon of the Alien franchise now, until, of course, another film contradicts it all, because that's how it works. But, like, Alien Isolation fits in the canon. Alien Isolation's been, like, secured as, oh, this happens now.
Yeah.
If you want the whole story, this happens. Ripley has a daughter. Here's what happens with Ellen's daughter, Amanda. This xenomorph looks like the original, but it's got big old haunched legs, and it's about 9 foot tall and fucking terrifying.
Which, to be
Aliens
fair,
Colonial
that's
Marines.
what they were going for in the original Alien.
Oh yeah, and it works, but it's just nice that in the game they went, let's take it, but because we're going to be able to see it all, let's make it taller and give it legs that a human actor could not portray in these sorts of scenes, and bigger limbs and a long ass tail that just drags along the floor.
Which they've done with digital trickery in more modern films. Like, Alien Covenant is a terrible film, but the alien in it looks fucking superb.
Oh yeah, it's these spidery limbs just like sticking out all over the place. It's just a shame we see it in broad daylight, headbutting a windshield, and then the next time we see it, it's stalking a couple having a sexy shower. It's like, what is happening?
Which, I don't know.
Why is this happening?
The idea of the alien as a slasher, I kind of get behind.
But not if we're going to see it headbutting a windshield for 5 minutes beforehand. Just like, what are you doing?
I don't know. I think that's
what are you doing?
I think that's very alien behaviour.
You resurrection
Like,
apologist.
it's just trying to get at the meat.
But does it eat its prey? We don't know for sure. It depends. And the mystery's what makes it exciting.
Some it does, some it doesn't. Yeah, who could say?
The only others I can think of that don't miss a mark and kind of expand to it is, and this sounds like a stereotype, but it's more about being there at the time. Spider-Man 2 for the PlayStation 2 and Xbox and GameCube. When that came out, it was the closest anyone really had ever had to having that experience of being a free-roaming Spider-Man in a New York City that had an entire borough, like an open world to go through.
It was the gold standard for a while of, like, movie tie-in games.
And hell, even open world games for a long time.
Yeah,
like, just in
certainly
terms
on
of,
that generation. It wasn't
Yeah,
until
this is a
sort
full
of,
city.
Yeah, it wasn't until the
PS3 nailed it.
yeah.
Yeah, like GTA 4 in the early years, and like things like Assassin's Creed series starting out, like the stuff where the open world map became a big thing.
Well,
the
saw
next
it
time
in that generation with stuff like GTA San Andreas, but it took the sort of technology leap to get closer to where they wanted to go.
Yeah. But just something about like Spidey 2 as a tie-in. It was, hey, it's the movie, but it's more. So if you enjoyed that film, but you're like, hey, I want to do that. Here's the, it was one of the few movie tie-ins at that time where it was like, we want to give you the experience of being in this film.
Yeah.
And then some. Like so many others just were like, here's a linear level, sort of is a thing that happened in the movie you just watched. And we're done. Good night, everybody. And it's also stood the test of time. Like here we are 18 years later and 16 years later, and people still go, oh yeah, Spider-Man 2. That was a great game. Like it's kind of been held in that standard since then. I mean, obviously, we've talked about it before. I've talked about it in Big Damn Love. Spider-Man 2 is not the last great Spider-Man game till Spidey 2018 rolled around. There are plenty of Spider-Man games that were equal and better in that interim. But, like, that's the one that sort of stood the test.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
Which I think speaks to how it grabbed the generation that played it on release.
Yeah.
Because it surprised the living hell out of them. Yeah, really grabbed them by the tit wobblers.
Honestly, I think that sort of media tie-in stuff has just been so much of a miss for video games. I think I can't really think of good examples of other bit pieces that have really hit the mark.
I mean, The Witcher, to a degree, the Witcher series has sort of complemented the books in a way where
you'll get people who feel very strongly on both sides of that argument, though. That's not a unanimous sort of belief.
Oh yeah.
So that's a tricky one. For some people, definitely, but I think there are also some people who would consider themselves purists who are just not not on board with it. I suppose you could say that the Telltale Walking Dead series sort of captures the feel of the comics. Because
that's a good one.
It goes on for far too long and it's diminishing returns. So similar to the series as well in that way.
Yeah. It's better as a comic. Oh, once a month you just check in with everybody and see what happens and figure out what happened last month. Works great in that way. As a comic, The Walking Dead works brilliantly.
Yeah.
Once a month, let's have 20 more pages and see a bit more of the story. As an ongoing TV series, Jesus Christ. Good God, why? But I'd agree. I think you've nailed it there in that one. Like the Walking Dead Telltale series, like it defined a new genre of storytelling games. It became a cult phenomenon, and then
it wasn't so much a new genre as a new take on an old genre.
Yeah, it was taking your point and click,
or even not a new take on an old
and
genre, because Telltale had been sort of modernising that for years prior to that, but that was the one that hit big because of the license.
And the timing, but the choice to make it fit in with the comic books over the TV show, I think, helps a lot too, because the TV show definitely has a fan base that either are still with it, ride or die, or who departed several years ago.
I don't think the show knew what it wanted to be for the longest time.
Yeah. I'd agree with that one.
So, yeah, who could say?
Only other one I can think of is Ninja Turtles.
Which
like
one?
The Super Nintendo entries, specifically like Turtles Through Time and stuff, like the SNES and NES titles.
I guess they're so basic comparatively.
True. But look back at the time of its release and the cyclone it existed in. Like those arcade titles and the console titles came out when like the cartoon and the toys were dominating the planet.
Yeah.
And before the movie came around, like those console games were seen as like the next level of, oh my god, yeah, oh brilliant, they've found a way to make this franchise even bigger and better, and now you can be the Turtles and it's in your home and this is incredible. And then the movie comes out and a lot of parents go, that was a bit dark.
That was a little bit dark.
That was a little bit dark. Why are all those kids smoking? I love that film, but good lord, it is weird. Tonally, it is weird, but then you go, hang on, this is closer to the comic book anyway. But it's not. Tonally, it's closer to the comic book, but they're all good guys and pure at heart and everything like the cartoons. So, I don't know. Turtles is weird. Best Turtles is the 2012 animated series. CGI animated series started in 2012 is the best version of the Turtles, and I will not accept any other iterations. They can all go to hell. Which is something people have been saying about another small, green, cute TV icon this past week.
Excellent segue.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about The Mandalorian Chapter 10. If you don't want any spoilers from Mandalorian Series 2 Ep 2, get the heck out of town.
Mando Watch. Season 2.
Here there be spoilers. This is the way. Here there be spoilers. We have spoken.
Yay! No, we will be speaking.
Yes, many time, in fact. So, the Mando is in search for the Mandalorians still to help find information about the child's potential place of origin to help return him to his own people. We learn, as we pick back up on Tatooine, that this lady, who's a little like frog lizard alien, needs safe passage to a certain planet where her husband is waiting. Her husband knows of a Mandalorian. And that's the lead that the Mando is given by his mechanic chum, who basically is like, yeah, this is how it's going. She'll take you. You take her, and then she'll give you what you need to know.
Amy Sedaris as Pelimoto, who, if she wants to turn up in every episode of this season, that's perfectly fine. Because she's clearly having a ball.
In this episode, she's having so much of a ball, she sat in the frickin' booth that the Han and Greedo shootout happened in the Mos Eisley Cantina.
Dr. Mandible.
Talking to Dr. Mandible, who's a giant half man, half ant, which is so brilliant when at the end the credits rolled and I was like, director, Peyton Reed. Wait. The director of Ant-Man directed this episode where a prominent alien that starts the story is an ant man.
Yes.
Oh, that is genius. Like, what a great... This was full of lots of little sort of nods and stuff to the creative teams of the shows and their inspirations in the universe. We sort of have hit now that point where they're a series in, they've earned our trust, they can be a little bit more fanboy, and they can throw in these references. But again, like episode 1 of this series, the references don't dominate the content.
No.
They're just there. They're just amongst it, which is, I think, the right way to do it. You just sort of go, oh, you know what this is. Enjoy. Hey, you enjoyed last series? That android that Richard Ayoade voiced? It's going to be used as a translator in this one. So you're going to get to hear Richard Ayoade again for a little bit, which is never an unwelcome thing. We'll get back to him. It's all connected, boys and girls. So yeah, they need safe passage and they can't go at light speed because the cargo that the lizard frog lady's carrying are her babies.
Well, they're not her babies yet.
Yes, that's the important thing to note. They're frog spawn, they ain't tadpoles.
They're unfertilized eggs.
Yeah, so it's like the eggs you have with your breakfast, boys and girls. It's not like they're carrying around chicks. This is something we're having to stress because I feel like we need to defend our tiny little puppet friend.
Because who likes to put everything he meets into his mouth?
Specifically, anything amphibian. As we learned last series as well.
Doesn't have to be amphibian, as we see in this episode later on.
But we know he's got a penchant for froggies.
Yeah.
Because last series we saw him nearly eat one whole. And then he did, didn't he? Swallowed it whole.
Yep.
This little blue leg sticking out his mouth. The child, aka Bubba Yoda, seems to regard this backpack tank full of unfertilized frog spawn egg things as dinner.
And lunch. And supper.
Lunch, and 11sies and second breakfast. So the crux of the tension of this episode the ongoing crux of the tension comes from him trying to eat the children.
Yes.
Amidst everything else going horribly wrong. I mean, at the start of the episode, the Mando is on his way back from Mos Pelgo, and he's mugged. He's attacked
ambushed
by these bandits, and he manages to convince them to leave him alone in exchange for his jetpack. And then as the guy's walking away, he tweaks a thing on his wrist control, and the jetpack shoots up into the freaking air. And then a minute later, this thing drops to the ground to its death. And then the jetpack flies back down to the Mando.
Very good.
Oh my god, that is so horrible. That is so horrible.
Very good.
I love it. It's so good. I was so brilliant. I was literally there going, how's he going to get out of this one? That's how.
Yeah. That's a thought that came back to me later in the episode.
Yeah. The Mando's got Boba Fett's armor. He's going to keep that presumably as part of his search for the Mandalorians.
Mm-hmm.
We pop into the Mos Eisley Cantina again, which is always nice to just pop in and see how everyone's doing. We finally see what those spit pit stop droids are for. The ones that have like the little Wally goggle eyes and the bits sticking out of them. Well, they're there to literally like turn meat. they're spit roast droids. I beg your pardon. And as the engine of a nearby piece of machinery is just slowly blasting the dragon meat from last episode into a steak.
Yeah, boy.
Oh man, I can't deny. I was looking at it going, can we have some?
That looks tasty.
It's ready to go around. That looks pretty nice. I mean, I know you only killed the dragon like a week ago, and it's probably got dirt on it, but like, it looks tasty, man.
It's all right.
It looks good.
They cooked it well.
So they can't travel fast because they're babies.
Yeah.
And they get stopped very briefly by a well, they're not the Rebellion anymore, are they?
Then the New Republic.
New Republic. A New Republic convoy, 2 X-Wing fighters, including the Dave Filoni pilot we saw briefly last series.
It's literally a traffic stop.
Yeah, they're just like, hey, your ship's like unregistered and stuff. Can we just check on this? And the Mando's like, oh yeah, it's just it's a pre-imperial thingy vessel. It's just old. That's why it's not registered. They're like, okay, no worries. If you could like just ping us though, because we need to like get registration so we can know you've flown through this area. Oh, I don't think we have that technology. And he's just trying to bide for time because, of course, as far as he's concerned, if they get hold of the ship, he's either wanted for stuff, or the ship's going to be the one that was near the thing's last series, where the New Republic would have questions about it, or he's got wanted sign with his face on somewhere, his helmet on, or the child could be in danger, so he doesn't want to take the risk.
Yeah,
and he legs it, and they end up on an icy planet.
Well, they make him. They make him for the ship that was near the penal colony.
Yeah.
So and then he just bugs out of there, and they don't want to shoot him down, which they're quite clear about. But he ends up sort of trying to evade them on this icy planet, makes what appears to be a safe landing, and then promptly crashes through the floor into a gigantic cavern, and is stuck with a giant hole in the side of his ship. No way to really repair it.
Oh god!
And
you know where this is going.
So
you know where this is going.
They find while they're there, after being shamed into repairing the ship and getting him out of there as quickly as possible by the frog lady. So she goes off. She has a nice bathe in the hot springs. Mando goes after her to make sure she's okay and stop the child eating more of the eggs. And the child finds some more eggs.
Mm-hmm, yeah, it does.
And busts one open and eats the sort of weird spider thing that comes out of it. And then that pisses off all the other spider things. And there's a bigger spider things, and then a bigger spider things, and then yeah. I was watching that episode going, fuck, Chris is gonna hate this. And then I got sent videos of your reaction, so it was all worth it.
Yeah, Lucy, unbeknownst to me, was recording audio because Keeks had given her a heads up that, like, you and her had got in touch with Lou and said, just maybe be with Chris when he's watching this episode. And Lou didn't twig why. And then as we were watching it, she freaking twigged. And then she started, like, using her camera, she recorded the couch close up. But the audio of me going, oh, no, don't want, do not want. These things freak me the fuck. So these are called the Krykna.
Yeah.
They're originally designed by Ralph McQuarrie in the original art for the earlier films. Specifically, these were going to appear on Dagobah in Empire Strikes Back.
They're in early McQuarrie concept art.
Some of their design carries over into the albino version of the giant spiders in Jedi Fallen Order, because it has sort of these eyes at the bottom and a very big abdomen. But most importantly, they appeared in an episode of Rebels.
Yes.
Sabine Wren fights some in the desert alongside Captain Rex, and they're scary in that, as you can imagine. They're even freaking scarier when they're photorealistic. Oh, good lord.
Yeah.
Fuck me sideways. I hate them. I hate them.
Yeah.
I hate them.
Yeah.
My wife is scared of squids, ladies and gentlemen. She doesn't like the way that they have a creepy little beak at the bottom, tucked away between where all the legs join the body.
But guess what these spiders have?
These spiders have freaky little beak mouths at the bottom of a long-ass, tall abdomen of a body. But they also have the thing I hate about spiders, which is the big, angular, crooked, like, segmented legs.
Yeah.
There's
a moment.
Jesus.
There's a moment towards the end of the sort of the climax of the encounter where the big mama spider is on top. He's dangling over the cockpit of the Razor Crest.
The Razor Crest.
And then the mouth just unfolds. And then just keeps unfolding.
Yeah.
I'm just like, that's too many teeth. That thing has too many teeth. That's a lot of teeth.
The webs, that unnerves me, because the moment you show me a spider thing and a sci-fi thing, I'm like, sure, whatever. And then when I see webs, I'm like, nope, it's a spider. It's a spider. It's an actual spider. This is horrifying.
Yeah.
Good lord, no.
And
Thank you.
It's just this horrifying sequence with Mando, the child, and the frog lady racing back to the ship and just getting swarmed by these things.
When he turned the flamethrower on him, I was like, good.
And it doesn't. It's just too many of them.
That the bit that got me was when they got into the Razor Crest and they started filling the cargo hold.
Yeah.
And then he manages to shimmy upstairs and he gets her and the child into the cockpit. But there's just they're World War Z in the door.
Yeah.
They're just piling up at the door. And the moment he's still torching him and shooting him, and you just see the little ones like, that one's got in. Oh, that one's got in. I was just like, nope, no, 1,000 times no. Oh, that.
Well, one
Jesus.
squats on the child's head.
Starts Chinese head massaging it.
Yeah.
Like sort of scratching it like a claw.
It's like,
what is this? I mean, to be fair to the spiders, the child did eat one of their not yet hatched brothers or sisters.
I mean, his appetite is going to get him in trouble.
But he is a baby. He's a baby. He's a 50-year-old baby who likes to eat things. Of course he's going to eat things. The Mando should learn how to breastfeed.
Yeah.
So that was horrifying. And then the New Republic pilots show back up and shoot the living fuck.
Yeah.
Out of the big spider and the little spiders.
Yeah, help him take all the spiders out. And square with Mando. Like, okay, well, yeah, you wanted for this, but you did give us 3 prisoners back, and you also tried to save one of our dudes. You didn't, but you tried.
Yeah.
So
they basically go like, we're not going to call it in.
We're not going to call it in, but get your transponder fixed. And then
these are strange times. They're basically making a point saying like, these are strange times. So bye.
And then just fuck off without helping him. He asked him for help repairing. And they're like, no.
It's like, no. We can't explain to the boss that we were late because we helped a convict who we then let go away. So you do your repairs. Goodbye.
Get out of
here.
We're
letting you off. Because we kind of like what you did for our lot. So, like, fair enough. I liked that. I thought that was, like, kind of, okay. So the law want him. They want to bring him in. but they can see that he's not doing them any harm.
Yeah.
So they're kind of like, all right, we'll lay you off. You did us a favour, even though you didn't do it for us. You did us a favour, so we'll let you off.
It's the difference between the Empire as a sort of totalitarian military regime and the New Republic as a sort of... The New Republic military is sort of a police force more than a military. That's another thing that's in a lot of like the supplemental material that bridges the gap between Jedi and Force Awakens, is that the New Republic is very demilitarized. It's in very stark response to how heavily militarized and fascistic the Empire was. The New Republic makes a conscious effort to not be as militarily armed, which of course comes back to bite him in the arse when the First Order turn up.
Oh god, I just looked this up. Did you know that the Frog Lady character is credited as Frog Lady?
Yes.
They've not given her a name yet.
Yes,
so I thought I was just being lazy and not looking it up, but I thought I'll better look it up just to check.
The suit performer is Misty Roses, who is also the suit performer for Queel in season 1.
She has spoken.
And the voice is Dee
the
Bradley
voice, Baker. Of course, it's Dee Bradley Baker. Voice actor Dee Bradley Baker can do weird shit with the pipes in his throat.
Just makes
he can do weird things. But not only that, he's prominently in Star Wars as the voice of the clones in the animation.
Yes,
shows.
of course.
So he's the clones in Clone Wars, Rebels. So technically, he was making his live-action Star Wars debut here, which is pretty damn cool. That's a nice little treat. It's like, hey, a Clone Wars cast member was tucked away in the show. Fantastic. Best thing, I have a theory that it's a demon. The robed lady that we saw in the teaser trailer, Doc. That Doc, the Mando's clearly reuniting Frog Lady with her partner, with her husband.
Oh, okay.
In the shot, and so we see a lady in a robe.
So we think that's next week.
I think that's next week, and I wouldn't be surprised if she has more of a connection to Rebels, considering how many Rebels callbacks they've been making this series.
You think she might be Sabine?
I wouldn't be surprised, because keep in mind, they've said to us, Ahsoka Tano's in this, and Boba Fett will be in it in a capacity.
Well, they haven't...
All gone.
Haven't...
But last year, they got the entire show marketed without ever once revealing that the child existed.
Yeah.
And then it blew us all away. So if they're about to go, hey, P.S., here's one of the main characters from Rebels in live action.
To be fair,
you're welcome.
They haven't actually...
She's a Mando.
She's
a Mandalorian.
Before season 2 started, Disney didn't actually confirm that Rosario Dawson was Ahsoka and that Tamura Morrison was Boba Fett. Yeah. I guess they still haven't officially confirmed that Tamura's Boba. And
I mean, he is. Why would you get Tamura Morrison to play Man in Tatooine watching them leave with Boba Fett's armor if it wasn't Boba Fett he was playing?
I think Rosario Dawson...
He could be one of the clones. He could be a clone, but, Boba Fett is a clone, so, yeah.
I think Rosario Dawson has been listed as Ahsoka in some things, but again, not officially.
Yeah.
So...
And we've not seen her in anything.
We've not seen her.
Yeah.
Because...
I'd like to see her answer for the transphobic claims of abuse, but, hey.
Yeah, there is.
I'd also like Gina Carano to stop being a massive trumper. Anyway, so the point is, Mandalorian Series 2, Episode 2. Great. However, I rate it 1 out of 10 because dog-sized spiders are fucking horrible. I hate them.
What about giant spiders?
That's fine. Attack of the 80-foot tarantula, sure, great. Send in the military. But dog-sized spiders can get the fuck out of town.
What about tiny
no.
cat or hamster-sized spiders?
Them too. Basically, my nightmare scenario is arachnids in the UK meets 8-legged freaks. I'm like, nope. That can go away right now. No.
8-legged freaks.
What was that film originally called? Because that was an ad lib. That was an ad. I'll grab it now because that was an ad lib in the shooting. They went, "Oh, that's a better title." I think it was like Itsy Bitsy Spider or something.
Something like that. Something supremely stupid.
If anyone's confused what we're talking about, Iraq Attack. That's not bad. That's pretty good.
Great, and absolutely the right tone as well.
If anyone's confused, there's a 2002 movie called Eight-Legged Freaks, which is just like so bad but really entertaining.
It's kind of Gremlins-y.
Yeah, it's meant to be bad. Like it's meant
like,
to be B-movie homage and weird and everything, but it's
it's like
sort of in that
Gremlins crossed with arachnophobia.
Yes, that is a great description. Yeah, yeah,
and David Arquette's in it.
yeah. Kari Wurra, Scott Terra, Scarlett Johansson, Dougie Doug.
Scarlett Johansson's in it.
Yeah, she's the teenage sister.
Completely forgot that.
Yeah, she's the oh my god, and the voices of the spiders.
Are they Dee
Because
Bradley
they
Baker?
all have very, like sort of yeah. Not Dee Bradley Baker.
Frank
Rob
Welker.
Paulson.
Yeah.
Hello, nurse.
Yeah.
Kevin Michael Richardson. It gonna rain.
Okay.
And Frank Welker, of
Yeah,
course,
of course
Frank
Frank
Welker, who of course was the voices of a shitload of gremlins. So
Frank
it all
Welker, who's
comes
been the
around.
voice of everything.
Yeah, a 17-year-old Scarlett Johansson is in that movie.
Jesus.
Barely recognisable because she's tiny, but she was like a year out from Lost in Translation, where the world would suddenly go, "Oh, she's quite good," and start putting her in more things.
And then she'd say a bunch of stupid shit.
Yeah, yeah,
And then she...
yeah.
Scarlett Johansson can play any ethnicity.
But going back to
Going back...
Richard Ayoade and people who say stupid things, but take themselves completely seriously. You introduced Kanisha to a show this week.
Well, I had only ever seen one episode of it.
Really?
I had only ever seen one episode of Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. And that was when I came across Apes of Wrath. Presumably on its original transmission.
Maybe it was like 2003, 2004, I think, Garth Marenghi's Dark Place when it went out.
Before I knew who any of these people were, I had a enduring memory of Matt Berry being pissed on by Noel Fielding in an ape suit.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Which is only slightly creepier than the stuff Noel Fielding gets up to in his personal life. But it's all on all four, and there's only 6 episodes. So
yeah, it is worth the trip, ladies and gentlemen, if you've never seen it. Explain to those who may be confused the fuck Garth Marenghi's Dark Place is.
Garth Marenghi's Dark Place is a fictional TV show allegedly produced in the 1980s by fictional horror author...
horror writer, screenwriter, director, dreamweaver, plus actor. Garth Marenghi.
So he...
A sort of uber egotistical Stephen King.
Yes. He sort of produced, created, wrote, directed, and starred in this bizarre show, which was supposedly...
As it says on the back of this DVD box that I've got, written by Garth... And keep in mind, this is the DVD of the release of the show, not like a piece of material from the show.
Yeah.
Written by Garth Marenghi, directed by Garth Marenghi, executive producer Garth Marenghi, producer Dean Lerner, based on an original imagining by Garth Marenghi.
What's it? Whoever, someone else is credited for the music, and then it's based on melodies originally whistled by Garth Marenghi. Which is,
Jesus Christ!
So it is him introducing the episodes of this show that was too radical to be aired when it was produced in the 80s, and sort of interspersed with talking head interviews with Garth Marenghi, producer Dean Lerner, played by Richard Ayoade, and actor
Todd Rivers.
Todd Rivers, played by Matt Berry. The other star of the show,
Madeline
Wool, played by Alice Lowe, the wonderful Alice Lowe, is not available for the Talking Head segments because she is missing, presumed dead. And it's just the actual Dark Place show itself is like this weird 80s action horror thing set in a hospital in Romford of all fucking places called Dark Place that's supposedly built on top of the gates of hell, and weird shit happens, and Dr. Rick Douglas, played by Garth Marenghi, has to combat evil with the aid of his best mate, Dr.
Lucian Sanchez.
Who's definitely not... He's played by the definitely not Hispanic Matt Berry. Played by the definitely not Hispanic Todd Rivers, who is played by the definitely not Hispanic Matt Berry. The psychic nurse, what's her name?
Liz Asher.
Liz Asher. Played by Madeline Moore, played by Alice Lowe. And...
and then producer of the show, Dean Lerner, who's not an actor, but is played in real life by Richard Ayoade, who's not an actor. Producer Dean Lerner playing Thornton Reed, the director of the hospital. And it's when he's first introduced in the first episode of the Talking Heads bit, it's like, this is Dean Lerner playing Thornton Reed, not as a performance, but as the truth. And then it just cuts to him, having spent like Talking Heads time with him for the first 10 minutes of the episode, with him talking like this and being very kind of specific and barely emotional when he's talking. You suddenly cut to this performance of him being like, exactly the same as that.
No, it's kind of like a rabbit in headlights version of that, because he's just getting his lines out as quickly as possible and sort of nervously like looking off camera. The whole thing is very much like, it looks like the whole series, they treat it as if it's, you know, this lost masterpiece, but the whole thing is shot like a really bad student film.
Oh god,
and it's just deliberately full of all sorts of continuity errors, bad dubbing, weird edits,
prolonged shots to just show how big the set is. There's a bit at the start of one of them where they're all waiting for their meal in the canteen, and Stephen Merchant plays this chef who's making my lovely chicken, and he has this bit where he hears a complaint in the queue, so he turns around, he's like, right, and he just turns around and marches a good like 30 seconds from the kitchen part of the set to the canteen area, because you know that in the logic of the show that they've made pretending to be a real show, Garth Marenghi wants to show off how big the set is. Yeah. So he takes a long time walking through two different doorways, like this angle, and then arriving, and you're just like, what is going on? I fell in love with this in like 2005, 2006, off the back of me really getting into the Mighty Boosh. I was like, I want more of these people.
Yeah, because it does start Noel Fielding in one episode, and Julian Barrett. The Padre. The hospital chaplain. Just fucking what? It's weird.
So good.
It's so bonkers. And this
is where Matt Berry discovered his love for dubbing his lines in post, which in this happens on purpose because it's meant to be bad ADR. Like, everyone does it a little bit in this, but I think there's maybe only 2 lines per episode where Dr. Sanchez is saying something he clearly said on set. Yeah. Like, everything else is ADR'd from him. Every other line.
Where they fill plot holes in at least one of the episodes by cutting to random shots of the background while inserting ADR in.
Yeah. Yes.
But like very fast, rushed ADR to explain the plot that they didn't film the explanations of.
And it's the tonal shift of the visual with the audio sometimes, which, like, he's saying something as simple as like, good morning, and he'll deliver it in the ADR physically as good morning, that's simple, but the ADR will be like, good morning, and you're just like, huh?
It's very
and this was like the first time you were kind of really seeing this in British comedy in the 2000s. It was like, they deliberately keep doing this. This is weird. Matt Berry then goes on to freaking do it in every job he's done since, and every show he's created since.
Sort of his trademark.
It's a rare occasion when he doesn't. Like, when you're watching What We Do in the Shadows, you're like, oh yeah, this isn't one of his shows. He's just in it. Okay, sure. But then you watch like Toast of London, and
he does get a lot of Berryisms into What We Do in the Shadows, though, to be fair. Which is why they cast those actors. Like, Of course. That's what
They wanted their tweaks and turns.
and their flair. It's just so bonkers and
It's fucking mental.
unapologetically weird.
I'm a one-track lover
But it's-
on a two-way
but
lane.
it's also-
Just working in a whole music video for a song for no fucking reason.
It's also clearly made by people who love that kind of stuff. Like, who love
She's
that kind
smooth,
of weird...
like ice, cold to the touch, and it isn't very nice. That fucking rap break. Sorry, I just remembered that. Fucking hell. And it's made with love for
Yeah.
hospital dramas from the
Yeah.
70s and 80s,
Yeah.
for science fiction genre concept shows from the 70s, for the works of King. There are so many Stephen King parallels in there, woven throughout it. And it's all, I mean, everyone involved in it, is involved in the writing stage in some way and whatnot, but, it's Matthew Holness, Garth Marenghi himself.
It's just brilliant.
What a fucking guide to take you through this. Oh my God, what a performance. Anyone who's recently watched The Haunting of Bly Manor, he was in that. He's the husband that's being cheated on, in the first half of it all.
I've still
And
not
it's
watched it. I should watch it.
Lucy started watching it, and I just dropped in on it, and I was like, all right, oh shit, Garth Marenghi. She's like, what? I was like, that's Garth Marenghi. She's like, is it? I was like, fuck it is, yeah. She didn't recognise him because he wasn't talking like this. His voice, his delivery in this is so wonderful, and that accent and everything, that whenever I hear anyone else with that voice, I do chuckle a little bit, no matter what, because I can hear Garth. I'm a huge fan, thanks to you, of Jim Sterling.
Yeah.
Jim Sterling is Garth Marenghi on helium.
Yeah.
It's the same
Basically.
voice. And it really... Oh, every now and again I just remember and I chuckle. Oh, God.
The great thing about the Garth Marenghi character as well is how much of a shit he is.
Oh, he's such a
Despite
twat.
clearly thinking he's the best thing since sliced bread. And it's one of those great... It's always a great character to do. But it is that character of someone who thinks they are so enlightened and talented, but is clearly a fucking hack who's an idiot with outdated views, but they're just so high on their own supply. And it's just a joy to watch.
If you want a bit more in your life of this sort of stuff, I mean, go to More 4 and watch it.
Yeah.
Now it's 6 episodes. Like you said, you just put it on out of oh, go on.
They're only about 20 minutes each.
You spent 2 and a bit hours watching all 6 episodes.
Yeah,
because it's a Channel 4 half hour, so it's 25-ish minutes, if that, per episode.
I just saw it was on there and was like, oh, I'll pop this one on. And then Keeks was like, all right, we're watching all of these.
We're doing it. It's happening.
I have to know how deep
God,
this rabbit hole goes.
Alice Lowe in full psychic attack mode with her hair
It's just
looking
the
like a
hair
freaking
sticking
Tim
straight
Burton
up,
character.
And it's just the repeated shot of her going from side to side without moving.
Like they've put her on an office chair and they're just wiggling her a little bit side to side while she's just staring daggers down the barrel of the camera. And you've got plates and staplers on string floating around the shot.
Just stuff like
It's wonderful.
Wonderful. Firing his gun.
Yeah.
And his gun turning on him, and he throws his gun down, and then pulls out another gun to shoot his first gun. Yeah. It's just that kind of just nonsense surrealness. It's
some really fucked up gore hidden by bad edits as well.
But it plays it like the sort of show within a show stuff is played so straight.
Yeah.
By everyone involved. And the Talking Head stuff, again, played so straight that it comes all the way back round to being ridiculous again. It's brilliant. It's
if you want more,
brilliant.
If you want more, it did have a spin-off called Man to Man with Dean Lerner, where Richard O'Hardy's character did a talk show, interviewing various characters, a couple of which are played by Matthew Holness, and it's including Garth Marenghi in one of them. So they sort of carry on in that world a bit. Yeah. It's not as brilliant as Dark Place, but it's still just like okay, this is, damn it, you got me again, you bastards. But Matthew Holness has also gone on to become a director, and most notably, the psychological horror movie Possum is one of his.
Yeah, I keep meaning to watch
Sean
that,
Harris
man.
and Alan Armstrong. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's on Prime. I'll have to check. But
It was on Now TV. I don't know if it's still on there.
that looks horrifying. Like really fucking disturbing.
Yeah, because as with like a lot of the best sort of parodies, it's made by people who actually have an affection for the genre that they're parodying.
I mean, he says some of his favourite films and the ones that inspired Possum were Dead of Night, the Ealing horror anthology.
Yeah.
George Romero's Martin, and his love of German expressionist films. So that's what you're dealing with here, effectively.
Yeah. And it's like when you can tell when a parody's been made by someone who doesn't give a fuck about the thing that they're parodying, because that's when you end up with shit like the Scary Movie sequels or any number of that insert thing here movie, like an epic movie, date movie, and then onto things like Meet the Spartans and Vampires Suck. Like they're made by people who don't care about the things that they're parodying. And the thing with parody is that if it's done with malice,
it's not funny.
It's not funny. It's just hateful.
Yeah.
But if it's done with love and it just becomes so... Because those are the people who understand what makes the genre work. And you can't parody something if you don't understand why and how it works. Which they do.
Yeah.
So they know what they need to send up. Like, it has wobbly sets. It doesn't have jokes about wobbly sets. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. That was a great descriptive. It's like, it's not taking the piss out of, like, these old tropes. It just has them.
Yeah.
Like, they're just in there.
They're heightened, but they're not... The humour comes from the fact that they're there, not from them pointing it out. Yeah.
I've just cracked open the DVD for the first time in a while, and it's got a booklet in it. Back when, the DVDs, people gave shit about how they put them together. And the booklet is, the tagline is from the best-selling Master of Darkness, so they're like playing it completely. Jesus, the front of it, instead of the DVD logo, it's a Dean VD logo. There is a foreword by Garth Marenghi in the booklet. There is a history of the show that never was.
Yeah.
There is... So here's the praise for Garth Marenghi's work. So these are for his fake novels, yeah?
Yeah.
On Stump, the Daily Mail says, genuinely nasty in places. For the book On Quivers, the Express says, I actually shuddered. Crab was reviewed by Hardcore Magazine, who said, one of the 3 best horror books about crabs I've ever read. The Independent, for the book The Dank, at 1,267 pages, this is good. Hardcore Magazine comes back to review Juggers, which is reviewed as Trucks, Titties and Terror, an unholy trinity. And the Times on Dawn Waters, who would have thought Marenghi could spin out a tale about urine infection to this length? There's bios on each of the characters from the show, but here's my favourite bit. At the end, the episode synopses is titled Episodicus Synopsitatum. Oh my god.
Oh god.
There's even asides in the episode summaries. What the fuck? It is great. And what was Keeks' reaction overall to this one? Like, just because you kind of knew what you were getting into.
Yeah, because I'd seen an episode of it. I hadn't seen the whole thing. And yeah, I just look over on the sofa and just see us shaking with laughter, okay, silent laughter at certain moments.
It's a magical thing.
Or then just get other moments where it's just a head shake. It's like, oh, so good. But yeah, I remember The Apes of Wrath when I saw it. It stuck in my memory because of its plot similarities to Inferno.
Yeah. Yes. Noticeably so.
People into apes.
Yeah.
But, obviously in Inferno, it wasn't Noel Fielding's piss.
Yeah.
So,
Basically, if you're on more four, and you're like, well, finish Bake Off, what should I watch now? Watch that bloke from Bake Off dressed as a monkey pissing on people.
Yeah. But
Treat
just,
yourself.
as a warning, it does feature Graham Linehan in 2 small roles.
Yeah, but this is back before they all knew what a cunt he was.
So just be prepared for that.
Speaking of C words, have we had any emails?
I don't think so.
We're recording this
no.
earlier than usual, folks, because the week's been sort of kiboshed a little bit. So
Yeah, stuff's happened.
if we don't have any, then catch us next week. Catch me outside. How about that?
Yeah, we got nothing this week.
Do you know what?
What?
Algorithms be fucked. Garth Marenghi's going to be the thumbnail. Because we're never going to have another chance for Garth Marenghi to be the thumbnail of this show. Garth Marenghi's going in the thumbnail. There's not a damn thing y'all can do about it.
Oh, I love it. I love...
Maggots. 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 Maggots.
On that note,
if you want to get in touch, bigdamcontact@gmail.com. Where can they find us on Twitch, Mayhew?
Maggots. You can find us on Twitch at twitch.tv/bigdamstream.
Where can they find us on Twitter?
At BigDamnCast.
Where can they support the show with some shekels?
Patreon.com/BigDamnCast.
And you can, of course, catch any video content, including video versions of the podcast, on Big Damn Channel on the YouTubes. I have been Christopher. I think I might need to stay up tonight and watch Garth Marenghi's Dark Place again. Johnson.
I've been... I've just been...
He's been.
Right here.
Bye! Bye, Bin, everyone! Bin, bye!